Johnny Rock Show, Rockin' 101, the Rock Station.
The Johnny Rock Show. On the phone. Is this Michael? Hello?
It is. Hey, how are you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Good. Sorry we couldn't speak off air before we jumped on the air, but I was told you were a few minutes late, and then you were back on time. Hey, whatever works for you. Michael Fanone, his book, brand new, Hold the Line, The Insurrection and One Cop's Battle for America's Soul. Nice timing. You know, you got the hearings starting up today. Again, apparently maybe the last ones. And here you are. Let me just say, thank you for your service. Pretty unbelievable, huh? I'm going to let you tell your story, and then we'll talk a little bit. But tell us about the book. And first of all, how you doing? You feeling okay?
Yeah, man, I'm hanging in there. A little tired. This book rolled out like a whirlwind experience, but it's a hell of a lot easier than my last job.
Yeah. Well, your last job included being at the right place, but the wrong situation. 3 years ago, would you have ever dreamed that you would be talking about what you're talking about now? No,
absolutely not. I mean, 3 years ago, I was working for the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department, primarily in an undercover capacity. I bought drugs for a living, and I enjoyed my obscure life, and I enjoyed the role that I had within the police department. So no, I never had any aspirations to be a public figure.
Well, here. Me either, but you're a little different. It's pretty unbelievable. So really quick, give us a rundown of that horrible day. You get called to the Capitol, and you just walked into it, or did you know it was coming?
So that particular day, like I said, I was working in a small mission unit. We were actually planning on conducting a narcotics investigation, drug buy, and obviously I heard the distress calls coming from the Capitol. I was on duty in my office and made the decision that I was going to respond. So my partner, Jimmy Albright, and I put a uniform on. For me, it was probably the first time in over a decade. And, we responded to the Capitol. Once we got there, we entered from the south side of the Capitol complex, made our way through the Hall of Columns to the crypt, which is the circular area just below the rotunda and the Hall of Statues. And it was there that I remember hearing on my radio a distress call coming out from the Lower West Terrace Tunnel, which was only a few hundred yards away from where we were. And Jimmy and I made our way down to the tunnel. I remember the first time I saw the officers in that tunnel, I was looking at them through a set of double doors, and you could see the residual CS gas that was still kind of suspended in midair. And as soon as we opened those doors, it just hit you like a ton of bricks. Neither Jimmy and I had gas masks. And so, breathing obviously was incredibly difficult. But what I saw there was so inspiring that's where we decided to make our stand. There was about 40, maybe 50 D.C. police officers, joined by about a half a dozen U.S. Capitol Police officers, and they were defending this long, narrow tunnel from thousands of violent rioters. This tunnel, just to paint a picture, is probably about 200 feet long, maybe as wide as 4 or 5 officers standing shoulder to shoulder. And we probably had 5 or 6 lines of officers. And on the other side of that was the entire Lower West Terrace. And it seemed like every last one of those guys was trying to enter through that particular tunnelway. And it's a symbolic tunnel. It's the area where the president-elect will walk out onto the inaugural stage and take the oath of office. Obviously, they were preparing for the inauguration, so you still had scaffolding, and the stage was being set up, and a lot of that had been stripped off, and those metal pipes were being used as weapons. And I experienced pretty much the gamut. I mean, I made my way to the front of that group of officers. We fought back, and, all the while taking hits from, bear spray, from commercial-grade fireworks, metal bats, aluminum baseball bats, batons, pieces of scaffolding, shields that had been taken away from police officers. It was pretty surreal. It was like a medieval battle scene.
Yeah. I'm just a dumb DJ. I was out of work at the time. What a surprise. But I remember every minute and watching it from the get-go as soon as the news station started reporting it. And I don't know, do you know why there weren't more officers on duty early? You had thousands and thousands of people down the block.
I can only speak to my department. I don't know why the U.S. Capitol Police was so ill-prepared. I think that's obviously it's a managerial issue. It's a leadership issue within the department. But I can tell you that the few U.S. Capitol Police officers that I saw were fighting their asses off. My department, very different story. We had, altered our deployment well in advance. On that particular day, we had every single Metropolitan Police officer on duty. But again, our role is not specifically to protecting the Capitol complex. That falls on the U.S. Capitol Police. But we had assets throughout Washington, D.C., and fortunately we were able to get officers there pretty quickly. But again, when you're dealing with a crowd of 15,000 to 20,000 people, 1,000 cops is still not enough. Sure.
We're talking with Michael Fatone, his new book, Hold the Line, The Insurrection and One Cop's Battle for America's Soul. Now you've done the hearings already, correct? You got up and you sat down and you told the story. Am I right?
I testified in the first congressional hearing about a year ago, and then I've attended each hearing since.
Okay. Well, listen, again, thank you for your service. Thank God for your service, man. I don't wish what you went through on my worst enemy, but at the end of the day, if not for people like you, I don't know. It's a crazy world, It's always been a crazy world, but sometimes it seems a little crazier, right?
Yeah, you ain't kidding.
Man. Well, I've got the book. I haven't gotten through it yet, but it's a great read, and I encourage everyone to grab it. I was doing jokes about, the song Hold the Line by Toto. I was making jokes about that, but they were lame. There you go. See? Good to hear you laugh. You're an intense individual, but that's how they build you, because that's what you do. And thank you again, Michael Fatone. Needless to say, you're welcome back to the Johnny Rock Show anytime you want. All right, man?
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, sir.
The Johnny Rock Show in the morning. The Rock Station every day. Rockin'